this thing out on my.
Hi, I'm Dilly Briggs with the Subject Press, and today we are at the Classic Rock Coffee House in downtown Fullerton with a very special guest. We are here with singer-songwriter, producer, music extraordinaire, Mr. Scott St. Louis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and talk with us. We really do appreciate it. I know that you have some new music out, and we've been listening to your new music lately. But to delve a little bit, before we talk about that, a little bit about you. I know that you have done a lot of music with a lot of musicians that you yourself have written
Correct.
for a lot of people. So a lot of the people in the industry already know who you are
Correct.
because you've worked with so many and you've traveled all over the world.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that before we delve into the music that you have out now?
I used to be in a band called the Ditch Bankokies, and it's like 7 international releases. It was kind of started as a joke, and radio picked it up, and it took off. We ended up on Dr. Demento, and then I started another band called Boss Tweed after touring with that. And we played with Bad Religion, we played with the Voodoo Glow Skulls, we played with Lagwagon, we played with all the different, styles of that. But I started working with other artists, but the problem that I had with other artists is that it was really hard for me to write a song geared towards them.
Yeah.
I'm not really that type of writer, so to speak, so I started producing other artists. So I produced a band called Mulch, which was an Orange County band, and we did pretty well. We got national distribution, had some different major labels coming out, and to see the project and things like that. But and then I signed with a company called Paytone Records, which was, it sounds made up, but it was Tom Hanks's label, and I was.
Oh, wow.
And they were just doing soundtracks and things like that at the time, so I did some work with them on that, and they wanted to put out a record of my individual stuff, and I did some recordings, and it got shelved, and just kind of the way it goes. So now this particular thing that we're talking about now, as in the new recording that I put out, it's more of an experience, like things that have happened to me in my life, and trying to relay that and trying to help other people. Maybe if they hear a song and say, hey, I've been through that, right? And then maybe they can see that you can come out the other side.
Well, like for example, the song "Beautiful."
Right.
Sorry, yeah. I've been listening to that a lot. That's absolutely beautiful song in the first place, and I love the story that it has, the message that it has. What was that for you? I mean, why did you want to do something like that? That people don't have to be exactly what society, the ideal, perfect society idol that society's thinking it has to be.
Right.
Or what was your concept for that, and why did you want to bring that up now?
I was actually in a relationship with someone who had an eating disorder, and I watched them spiral out of control because you couldn't look the person in the eyes and tell them that you thought they were beautiful and you cared about them, because they didn't believe you, because they didn't feel that way about themselves, right?
Yeah.
So I felt like, that song was written out of pain. That song was written out of desperation. It was written about a situation that I wouldn't wish on anybody. Watching people go down like that, because of alcoholism, drug addiction, eating disorder, all the things that kind of go along with that, where they believe that they have to look a certain way, but yet when they look in the mirror, they're never able to achieve that look, right, in their own eyes, and
it's an illusion of what they're seeing.
Yeah, and they're beautiful, they're the people that are experiencing this are usually some of the most attractive people on the earth, right? It seems like, and they believe what they read. They believe when they pick up a magazine that they need to look this way, they need to look that way, they need to eat like this, they need to, just all these crazy things, and it's just complete torture. And I get that too. I mean, being in the entertainment industry or in the music business for a long time, you start to think you need to look a certain way or you're not going to be sellable, right?
Yeah.
So I think I struggle with that. I struggle with that today. Like, you have to look a certain way, or nobody's gonna, you know, put your music out, so you have to go about and do it yourself, right?
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people just on average struggle with stuff like that no matter what, but to be somebody who is viewed on a regular basis, then that must be even harder because you're kind of under the microscope
Exactly.
at the same time, you know, so, but I really love the song because it does give a positive message
Right.
about, you know, accepting yourself for who you are and just being happy about that, you know, and that nowadays can be hard to achieve, like you said.
Well, I think what was good about that is that, you know, I had a vision for the video,
Mhm.
but I didn't know how to make it come to light. So I turned to a good friend of mine, Eric Burdett, and I said, hey, here's my idea. What can we do? You know, and he went to work on it, and he actually made it come to life. So in making this video come to life, where I actually watched it, and I was like, wow, that's it. You know, like, we got it, you know, on this one. And I'm hoping that even if it just changes one person's life, right, then we've done our job. So if it
Oh,
touches
yeah.
one person, and that one person can say, I felt that way, you know, and this is how I got out of it, right? Because we all know that, and I'm not trying to sound like an advocate for eating disorders or anything like that, but it's a huge problem
It is, it
in our
is.
society, and to watch people destroy themselves trying to fit a mold that doesn't exist, by the way. The mold doesn't exist. It's all between our ears, and it's all something we've been programmed and taught.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And I love in the video, I mean, whose idea in the video was like when, the woman in the video, she's packing up, you know, and she's leaving, and picks up a book, and the saying on the book says, how to be sexy in your own skin.
Yeah.
And by the time she throws the book in the suitcase, the title changes
Yeah.
to I'm crawling in my skin.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that for me was the whole, oh,
Yeah.
you know what, that hits home because that's how a lot of us end up feeling. We start off one way, but then in reality we feel another way. And
Yeah.
that to me, I felt made that impact that you were trying to make with that song.
Right.
Just seeing that part, that touched me, and I was like, oh wow, that made a difference for me in the video. So, and it's something that you went through,
Right.
so it's something like in life that you've experienced, and that also shows people out there that they're not alone.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what
exactly.
status you are in life, people go through things.
It's
you know?
really hard for me to write a song that I haven't experienced. I don't know, but it makes, you can tell when an artist is faking it, so to speak, if something's been written for them, or, you know, some of the song and dance band, like I like to call them, like the people that you see on The Voice or American Idol or things like that, can perform anything that's put in front of them. That's kind of what the industry wants, because it makes it easier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because they got their set writers, they got their set, you know, PR people, they got their set everything, and they can just put this person in a mold and send it out there. But the problem is that the listener can hear it. They can see it and they can hear it, and they might like it when they're 14 till they're 18. But once they get beyond that, I guess like New Kids on the Block, somebody like that, no disrespect to New Kids on the Block, but the cookie cutter type of thing, the talent moved on, right?
Yeah.
So Justin Timberlake
Yeah,
is a real talent.
he broke out
Yeah.
of that, but he did
And he wasn't
continue.
doing his own songs at that point, he was doing their songs.
Yeah, and he had to make
Right.
his own, but he had to struggle to be able to
Yeah.
break out of that mold.
Exactly.
Because you do get put in that little box,
So,
you know?
yeah, so there'll be a few people that make it through, but I really think that, I think when I record music, and when I listen back to what I'm doing, I really need to feel like I did when I wrote the song.
Mhm.
And that's kind of torturous coming from an artist standpoint, because a song is like a painting, it's a moment in time, right?
Yeah.
So like, you do the outline, and then you bring in the other artist to help fill in the color. And then you put the finishing touches on it with hopefully, you know, a moving vocal performance. That feels good to me, not, I'm my own worst critic. Like, if it doesn't feel good to me, it's not gonna go out.
Okay, and then now on the video for that song, you have a lot of collaboration on the video. A lot of people, you know, came out to help you and collaborated with you on this album. You know, can you tell us about all the other musicians that are coming in to work with you on this?
Yeah, I had Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. He also played with Eric Clapton, which I see this up here, and he's played with like Duran Duran. He played with War, and plays with Scott St. Louis too. So you know, that's pretty cool. He did all the drum tracks. I think that he's the best drummer on the planet. And I think that he made me a better musician by the tracks that he put down, because I had to, what I did with these guys, which is very interesting, I said, play your perception of the song. Like, I didn't tell them what to play.
Uh-huh,
So I said, it was just me with an acoustic,
uh-huh.
coming in, you know, to a click track, and they played their perception of the song. And it was all done at separate times. So they had Steve Ferroni come in, and Abe Labario Sr., who's like, you know, just done Michael Jackson, he's done Elton John, he's done tracks for Madonna, he's done tracks for the Bee Gees, like, and they did their own perceptions of it. And then the piano player actually on that song is a guy by the name of Steve Wilkins, who I'll do like lounge sets with occasionally.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's just me,
Nice.
him, acoustic and a piano.
Nice.
And we would just kind of go around and, you know, prep for the recording and stuff like that. But, so he did that, and then they had Russ Irwin, and Russ played with Aerosmith, and he played with Sting, and he's played with Bryan Adams, and he was with Aerosmith for 20 years, I think, something like that. So it was kind of cool because one of the sessions, it was me, Russ Irwin from Aerosmith, and then Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty, and then Steve Perry came by too.
Wow.
So I was like looking at like all these guys.
To
That's
be a
all-
fly
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the wall that day,
So
I tell ya.
I'm just thinking like, I had his poster on my wall, I had his poster on my wall, and that guy was my idol, right? So you kind of look at that because Perry was from the same area that I grew up in,
Oh,
Central
okay.
California. So it was nostalgic, and then that was Does Anyone Know the Way, which is going to be the next video that we do.
Oh, okay, nice.
And what we're trying to accomplish with that song is we want to follow around a homeless veteran family
Oh, okay.
and try to get them into some form of help, you know, and try to see the story through.
Yes.
Hopefully it has a happy ending.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
yeah, that
and
would
take
be
it from
nice.
there. So any video that I do, I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about kind of like what the song was about. 'Cause
Oh, okay, yeah, I know, but portraying what you want the song to put out there, you know?
Exactly.
Oh, no, that's a nice idea, a nice concept, instead of just it being about you and this is how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
yeah.
so that's
Look,
enough.
feel, whatever, you know. I'm not,
Exactly.
I'm not going to be on stage at the Roxy, you know, doing a video like that. It just doesn't work
Yeah,
out.
it's not
more
me.
cinematography. Yeah, exactly. No, it's more about, okay, here's the problem that I see in the world, and I don't know if I have the solution for that problem, but at least I've recognized the problem. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that society will recognize it as well.
Yeah, and you have a platform
Right.
where you can kind of say and do something positive for it.
Correct.
And put it out there where people will take that and they'll be reciprocate of it, you know,
Right.
and stuff, opposed to just the average person.
Right.
You know, so that's always nice when an artist does want to do that and you feel also that type of responsibility to community and humanity as well. you
Yeah.
know, and I love tell us about the video shoot. Now, you guys shot this video on the rooftop in LA in like super early hours. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it was a studio called Studio 60, and I think it's in downtown LA / South Central LA, something like that. And what was cool is that we actually did the whole video there.
Oh, okay.
So while the crew was in there setting up the room that Ann was in,
Mhm.
and doing her shots there, we were upstairs on the roof shooting live shots.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of was a really long day, but it worked out really well. And then we did some of the solo shots of me at a different location. But I called Ajax, who's a good friend of mine. We grew up together, and I said, "Hey man, I need a bass player for this video, right?" And he's like, "Okay, I'll be there." And I said,
It's Ajax, Mario Garcia,
yeah,
Erie Pop
yeah,
Industries.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's right. So we go way back. We used to play in bands together when we were kids. You know, I mean, we actually started playing rock and roll together.
Whiskey was your first
Correct.
band with
yeah,
him,
yeah,
correct?
Yeah, that's right. And then he was in the Blown Aparts, and I filled in with the Blown Aparts a couple times.
Oh, nice.
And so he's filled in with me in the video and stuff, and it was good. And then the drummer's John Sachs. He's a really good jazz drummer. He's played with me a lot in the past as well. And Steve Wilkins is doing the piano, and he actually played the piano on the record. So.
Oh, very nice.
But the actual drummer on the record is Steve Ferroni from Tom Petty. And then we had Abe Labario Sr., who's a really reputable bass player, Michael Jackson, Elton John, Madonna. I mean, it's played on over like 3,000 songs. And then some of the other tracks, Russ Irwin from Aerosmith, and he's the only guy that I ever met that actually played the Super Bowl twice.
Wow.
At the same time.
At the same time?
So he was on stage with Aerosmith, right?
Uh-huh.
And then they took him in a cart across the way to play with Sting.
Oh my
When
goodness.
Aerosmith and Sting co-headlined the Super Bowl, Russ was on both stages.
Wow, that's amazing.
Super sweet guy, great musician, great songwriter.
And these are all the musicians that are collaborating with you now, but these are musicians that you have also collaborated with them in other projects, so that are all kind of coming together to help you with this. Now, this is your first solo album for your own music.
As myself, yeah.
Yeah, as yourself, because again, a lot of people in the industry know you because you are that songwriter.
Right.
I've read that you are in the top 5% of the songwriting
this is
in
back-
the industry. You know, so that's wonderful that now that everybody's coming to help collaborate for you to bring out your own music and what you feel should be put out there in your manner. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's wonderful. You know,
It's
so
just a different approach. I mean, I really saw it as, you know, trying to make a difference.
yeah, and the music is wonderful. Everything in the songs that you write, though, it does seem to have some type of a meaning that relates to life somewhere. You know, and
Right.
many people kind of, you know, and actually relate to that.
Right.
You know, so and when is this going to be out?
It actually came out on October 1st. So
Oh, okay, so
it just was slow to release because I did it myself and I went through, you know, the typical things, but it just became available on Spotify, it just became available on all the different digital platforms that
Okay.
you can get it on. iTunes, was it Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, it should be all out there. And the main purpose was to start getting reviews of the album.
Yes.
The Huffington Post picked it up and they did a really nice review, and now all the reviews are starting to come in. So it's going to be a slow process, but we'll get there, you know.
Oh yeah, nothing happens just overnight, right? But I read some of those reviews and they're absolutely wonderful. I love what they've said about the music. Now I read something there that I kind of wanted to see if you can elaborate on. You said that music is both your demon and your savior.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I can understand the concept, but what does that mean for you?
When you're trying to get a song out, like when I wrote the song "Stay," which is on the record, have you ever seen Amadeus?
Mm-hmm. I have.
You remember when he was commissioned by his dead father to write what he thought was supposed to be an opera, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was basically dying writing this opera. So when I wrote the song "Stay," I was at a point in my life to where, you know, the relationships are falling apart, nothing seemed to be going right. And I was literally like in a fetal position on the floor in my living room for like 3 days, trying to find the right words to say what I was feeling, you know? And so when I say music is my demon and my savior, when something happens in my life, the only way I can process it is by writing a song about it.
Okay.
But going through that process is very painful, and it hurts, and it feels good, and you don't feel good enough, and you don't feel worthy, so to speak. I know that sounds like.
So, but you really are
hard.
having like an internal struggle then when
It's
you're
an
dealing
internal
with
struggle
that then.
because it's the only way that I can have a connection with the world. It's the only way that I'm not a very good. I don't want to say I'm not a very good communicator, but it's very hard for me to say what I'm feeling when I'm feeling it, and that's the only way I can process it. So when I say it's my demon, the demon usually comes when the success happens, right? And then you start to feel like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, I'm untouchable. Well, you see a lot of people go through it. You do.
Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then your ego gets in the way, and you start making bad decisions, and pretty soon you're in the gutter again, right? Trying to fight your way back. But when I say it's my savior, it means that I don't think I would be alive without it, because it is the only way that I can process my emotions. It's the only way that I can really say without hurting anybody's feelings, right?
Yeah.
Because usually when we're in it, we say things off the tip of our tongue that we don't mean. But with music, you can take the time, you can write the lyrics out to say exactly what you want to say without, you know, directly hurting somebody.
Yeah.
And it's just a healing process. So when I
And
say
I can relate
demon
to
and
that.
savior, it's that's just kind of the way it goes.
Now, I also know that you have other projects that you're working on as well, so you're not just, working on music, you're working on other stuff. And you have an animated series coming out.
Correct.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's I collaborated with Johnny Hardwick, who is the voice of Dale on King of the Hill, and we created this world, basically, that takes place 12 years in the future, and it's about an occupied America. So essentially, like Russia owns the pot trade in California now, so they own Northern California, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska, and then we have the Great Wall of China, which is the California Wall, essentially, that goes all the way down. That was built, and it's filled with really bad strip malls, and we're just kind of poking fun at the whole world, but it takes place, and it's based around two brothers, Ditch Borelli and Stitch Borelli. One of them wants to be a famous musician, the other one has more political affiliations and wants to be more like an Antifa type of guy or something like that. And it's all about Ditch's twin brother gets taken, and they use the band Trailer Metal to get in and out of occupied areas to try to find the brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can look that up, but you just type in Trailer Metal and you'll see a lot of stuff on this.
I will watch that because my household does watch King of the Hill.
Yeah.
So that's one of my husband's favorite shows. Him and my older son, they love to watch that. So we are hooked on that. So when you had mentioned you were working on a project with them, I was like, I wanted to be able to talk about that too.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And when is that going to be coming out, or kind of just starting it now?
Yeah, we're just well, I've been doing it for like 10 years, and finally I was able to get in line with the right people to try to get it to the proper networks where we want it to be. But
nice.
We'll probably start pitching early next year with different networks.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, and just let us know if they pick it up and decide to do something on that. We'll go ahead and put it on the Subject Press site too, and make sure people know about the animated series coming out. So something else to put out there to watch for you.
Definitely.
And now where can people find what shows you're going to be at? Where's your social sites? Where can they download your music at?
Well, if you go to scottstlouismusic.com, you'll be able to find all the social sites there. They're all linked up. But if you just type in Scott St. Louis Music, you'll see
it'll come out.
Everything will come up.
Nice.
So the different reviews on the record, the Huffington Post piece, and there's a lot more interviews and reviews coming out as well. I don't know about shows at this point in time. I mean, it just depends. If I can generate enough buzz from the recording, then we'll do a tour.
Nice, very nice. Now, if you do a tour, who would you like to tour with? If you had a choice.
Well, it would have been Tom Petty, but it's that would have been ideal. But I think
I would have been there.
Are you guys familiar with the Rival Sons?
Rival Sons, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
So those are good friends of mine. I didn't grow up with those guys, but I've known them for a long time.
Yes, yeah, we saw them recently, not too long ago.
Very first show.
So, but also they were there. We saw them too. So they're a wonderful band.
I kind of want to take their approach, because they came out with the recording and then were able to kind of get picked up on a big tour and go and they've been on several big tours since then, and they're great. I mean, it's a really great project. But I just think that wherever the universe puts me, whoever they're going to put me with, I think that there would be like a mutual respect.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We'll see what the future holds, right?
Exactly.
Definitely. Well, this was fantastic. Again, I appreciate the fact that you took your time to come out here to meet with us and to talk to us, so that our Subject Press viewers out there can get to know a little bit more about Scott St. Louis and his music. Once again, he has collaborated with a lot of musicians, so now this is his debut album coming out, and it is self-titled, right? Just Scott St. Louis. So check it out. Make sure to, he's got a lot of people coming out to help him out on this, and just show some support when you see him. So thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it, and we're gonna check out downtown Fullerton now and get some awesome photos.
Perfect.
So now, before we leave, is there anybody that you want to maybe give a shout out to, say hello to?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to say thanks to Billy Stevens for hooking this up. I mean, this is really great. He talks really highly of you guys too. He says that you guys are like real music enthusiasts.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's important to me. So,
Oh, that was really nice. It was actually a little bit of a surprise for me because we did mention to him
Right.
that we had wanted to reach out to you once we started hearing your music, and it was kind of just a conversation we were having in passing.
right.
And then all of a sudden he's like, "Okay, here you go. Give him a call. He's ready." And
Yeah,
it was like,
yeah.
you kind of took the job, beat us to the punch. Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, big shout out to Billy Stevens. We really do appreciate that, you know. And but is there anybody else maybe you want to say hello to? People that you've worked with before? Any?
That's a good one. Probably to everybody, you know. I don't know. I'm not much of a name thrower. I kind of feel weird about that. So.
Yeah, well, just like, you know, thank you for everybody, I guess then.
Yeah, I would like to say thanks to everyone that was involved in the recording and definitely involved in the video production. You know, it meant a lot to me. So.
Awesome.